Apparently, it doesn't want to play today. It's there. There we go. Sometimes you just got to hit the buttons a million times over. Come on. Welcome to Cooperville Live. The first show I'm not wearing a hat. I believe that shit's happening. It's happening right now. The program is underway wherever you're watching. And thank you for watching. Facebook Live, YouTube.com/Cooperville Live, and No Limit Cooper on the Twitch. We're on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, watching us on Twitch, say hello. We want to hear from you. We want to see you loud and proud. Because we have a big Twitch. We have a big Twitcher. Is that the word? Twitcher? A dude who does the Twitch and does it well. Does many other things well as well. Jason Charles Miller on the program today. Founder of Godhead, solo artist, got a new album out. Voiceover actor, producer, gamer, all of the things. We'll talk From the Wreckage, Volume 1, his new album, which just came out a couple weeks ago. So that's coming up at 5:30 today. We're excited for that. Excited for you too. To be a part of the show, we thank Captain Coop's Beard Company. Yes, that's my beard company. That's a bunch of stuff in today for that. Bam. That's the cat's meow right there, people. You got the oil, you got the balm, and you get this. You get that. CaptainCoops.com is the website. All the beard products you could possibly handle. We got merch on there as well, so check it out. That's my stuff. That's my brand. That's my thing. Be a part. Speaking of things you can be a part of, keep the show going. Support the show. We got big things that we work on all the time. Keeping guests coming in, keeping the equipment up and running. All costs money. Help support the show. Join the Cooperville Live Patreon. You can do that in the link in all of the comment sections, wherever it is that you're watching. Check it out. Excited for today's show. If you missed any of yesterday's show, you need to go watch that shit. You need to. It will make you a better human being. Go and watch yesterday's show. After today's show is done, of course. Don't do it now. Do it later. Yesterday's show was great. Dr. J had some great things on. We talked a bunch about meditation. That was good. We need that in our lives, man. And of course, retired Navy SEAL, Senior Chief Derek Van Orden was on the show yesterday as well. Because today, spring elections, spring voting, it's election day. So hopefully you got a chance to get out and get to the polls and get your vote in for today. Bunch of great candidates on the list today. So make sure you get out. I think the polls are open here till about 8. I think it's 8. So get out and vote. Today's the day to go vote. You want change to happen. It starts on the local level. So, city council, school board, all that stuff. Get out, rock the vote. The judges that are on the ballot as well for today. Get out and vote, because today's the day to do just that, to vote. So do it. Go do it. Be a part of what it's all about. And what it's all about is rocking the vote. Like I said, Jason Charles Miller coming up later on in the show, 5:30. He will be joining us. He's actually on a live stream right now. I think he's got a Twitch show. I think he's on the Twitch. I'm not saying leave our Twitch to go to his Twitch, but I'm just saying that there's some Twitchery happening today, which is exciting stuff. Speaking of stuff, there's lots of stuff going on in the news today, and we'll get to all those headlines. Another beautiful day in the Chippewa Valley here today, 80 degrees. Then we have some thunderstorms rolling through, which is exciting. Things that happen in springtime in Wisconsin. You get these teases of beautiful days, and all of a sudden you get thunderstorms in the afternoon, then it gets nice again, then you get thunderstorms overnight tonight. That's kind of what we're dealing with right now, is some storms out there. A couple of storms are brewing out there. But it was a good day. Went and got my hairs cut. See that? Look at that. That's that Fade, yo. That's that Fade Game Official. Follow him on Twitch as well. It's my dude, D Price. And him and I are talking about streaming stuff today. We had a great, my total time for haircut from when I walked in the door to when I exited was like an hour and a half. I know I got the Caterpillar trimmed up too, but A lot of it talking about the stream and about doing some upgrades to the equipment and different cameras and different things, different options, different ways to do it. So we're going to be doing some upgrades to the show, and hopefully you notice. If you want to help out on that cause, again, join the Patreon. We got plans starting as low as $10 a month to help support the show. But a lot of cool stuff we got that we're working on, different abilities to have like guests when you have guests in the studio, to have multiple cameras. That's kind of the tough part about this, is only having one camera currently, which is right there. Is if I have a guest in and they're sitting over there, it's going to look weird for me just talking to that person. You'll be able to hear them, but you won't be able to see them. So multiple cameras, different camera angles, something from like back here and all this other stuff, different lighting. So this monster sign, I'm not sure if you see it on the stream, but that's like really bright green. And from my vision here and on my vanity camera, I guess it kind of looks a little green. Got the vanity camera here. It's weird. But just some upgraded stuff, help with some of the lag that we've been experiencing, and we'll be in full 1080p. We'll be in full high definition 1080p stuff. So that's all coming down the pike too. So that's pretty exciting. And then doing some other things with the show as well. We should have very soon our new logo. We've been talking about the rebrand of the logo. That is going to be archived. And we're going to have a new look, new logo, probably work on some new overlays and stuff like that. Which, if you haven't noticed, that's an overlay right there. So you can't see my finger behind it. But it does have the Twitter, and it has the YouTube. So you can go check that out. But that should be coming out hopefully in the next week or so. So we're excited about that. Working with Blake Allison and Joey Wolzer on that process. Ready Waves, going to be talking more about that in the coming weeks too. They're diligently at work with Ready Waves for you streamers out there. If you stream at all and you're looking for some royalty-free, high-quality, high-def music, beat beds and things like that, sound effects, the whole thing, they can even do custom work for you. We'll be talking more about how you can gain access to Ready Waves, and we'll be utilizing it here on the show too. So that will be worth you checking out as well. So a lot of stuff happening, and a lot of stuff happening in the world as well. As we look at our headlines for the day. I went off on a little bit of a tangent about this last week. Perhaps you heard about it. Because there was some serious talk coming from the White House about the possibility of vaccine passports. New York has implemented a vaccine passport. It's called the Excelsior Pass. So in order to go to places, right now it's like large places. So Madison Square Garden, I think some of their Broadway stuff, that whatever's open, you have to use this Excelsior Pass that says that you have gotten the vaccine, or you have tested negative for COVID. There's a little bit of inalienable human right infraction there, but so that was kind of the spark plug to it. And then there was talk from the White House. They were looking at doing this on a national level. Then there was talk it was going to be a global thing where everybody on the face of the earth would have access to your health records, which is a little bit scary. If you're like, ever heard of HIPAA laws or anything like that? So it's kind of a violation. 14th Amendment. Anybody? No? Okay. And then a couple of different governors came out. Ron DeSantis down in Florida. And was it Governor Potts in Texas? The governor of Texas came out and said, yeah, well, no, we will not have vaccine passports here in Texas. So the two states that have been kind of doing their own thing, and Florida, for the most part, Florida's been basically unlocked for the duration of the last year, Texas more recently, but they're like, no, that's a violation of human rights. And we're not going to allow you to do it, because that's where it starts. It starts with the COVID vaccine, and then it moves on to other things, as you can clearly see. They developed that kind of technology where they can just have every single thing that you have had done. Then it expands to, I don't know, your social credit score. That was my big rant about the whole thing, was it's a little like what China's doing, which is a little scary. But White House Press Secretary, this is according to The Hill, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said on Tuesday, ruling out the Biden administration playing any role in a vaccine passport system, as Republican governors in particular balk at the concept. So they're coming out and saying, no, we're not going to be doing that. She says, quote, the government is not now, nor will it be, supporting a system that requires Americans to carry a credential. There will be no federal vaccination database and no federal mandate requiring everyone to obtain a single vaccination credential, she told reporters at a briefing. The White House has been clear that it would defer to private companies if they wanted to implement some type of vaccine passport system in which individuals would have to provide proof that they received one of the coronavirus shots. So that's, I guess, a blessing in disguise that it will not be coming from the federal government. It would be coming only from corporate entities. Imagine the backlash of that per se Walmart, who has been in talks with some of these concepts about doing a some sort of vaccination check for you to come in the store. And I don't frequent the Walmart. We have, I mean, it's, it's more convenient, and yeah, it's a little closer and a little cleaner than the, which is shocking to say, it's cleaner than our local grocery store. But so I didn't go there. But if that was the case, that's a big old no. That's a big old not happening. Yeah. California, we know, is one of the states that's been really under scrutiny for being locked down basically for over a year now. Sometimes they let off the gas and then they just lock it back down. Now, supposedly, they're talking about a June 15th date. June 15th date to fully reopen the state of California. June 15th, which is 2 months, a little over 2 months from now. Now, this is obviously has a lot of, it depends on vaccine supply and stable, low hospitalization rates and masks in the state of California. Still 2 months away. And you kind of get the feeling, just the way that California has handled this whole thing, that they're not going to abide by that June 15th rule or date. It's just going to be, it's an arbitrary date they throw out there. But like, hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to do these 12 things and we'll be back open. I'm not 100% on board with that. And my mom, Northern California, lives out there. I've been dealing with this shit for over a year now. Frustrating for her and many others. Especially as for her starting to, trying to keep her small businesses going and difficult in a place like California. I was like, come on back to Wisconsin. We're basically free and clear over here, man. Come on out. Enjoy. Have a good time. But it's just weird. It's just weird that I've talked about invisible lines on this show before, the invisible lines of county to county, of state to state. Like we're good. We're good here. We have been good. Everybody thought state of Florida was going to be the shit show, right? Especially after the Super Bowl. Oh my God, they let 22,000 people into the Super Bowl. There's going to be a huge surge. There wasn't. Oh my God, Texas opening up, Mississippi opening up. Going to be huge surges. There hasn't been. What have we talked about a ton on this program? Fear. Fear-based news broadcasting, fear from politicians, fear from your friends and your family. That shit will ruin your life, man. Fear is a horrible drug. But we're at a point now, it's weird to realize that some people are actually fairly addicted to the fear part of it. They're like, oh, they yearn for it. They're like, I want to be freaked out. I want to be scared. And because they're scared, they want you to be scared too. They want you to feel the same way. Well, aren't you afraid if you go into Walmart without a mask on that you're going to catch COVID? Like, you've been to Walmart, right? Like, I've been fearful of going into Walmart and catching something for pretty much Walmart's entire existence, right? So no, I'm not. You can be. That's fine. Not so much. Governor Abbott, state of Texas, Greg Abbott, was the one who was putting the kibosh to the idea that the Biden administration was going to implement this government-dictated vaccine passport. Now they're like, no. We're not going to do that. We're going to leave that up to somebody else. Here's some crazy ass news. There is a ketchup shortage. There is a shortage of ketchup. Did you know that? I did not. I just read this today from the Wall Street Journal. A shortage of ketchup. Who knew? I am not a ketchup guy. I don't. Yeah, I can live it. I don't like dip my fries in it. I don't really, you know what I'm saying. But I'm not anything. We had brats. We had a grill out on Sunday night, on Easter Sunday, and no ketchup. Had a brat, no ketchup. Had a steak, no ketchup. Don't put fucking ketchup on steak. I don't care who you are. Again, according to the Wall Street Journal, the pandemic turned restaurants into takeout specialists, boosting demand for the condiment. Everyone out there is grabbing for ketchup. Supply chain problems are reaching into a far corner of the business universe. Ketchup packets. After enduring a year of closures, employee safety fears, and start-stop openings, many American restaurants are now facing a nationwide ketchup shortage. Restaurants are trying to secure the tabletop staple after COVID-19 upended the condiment world over. Managers are using generic versions, pouring out bulk ketchup into individual cups and hitting the aisles of Costco for substitutes. We've been hunting high and low, said Chris Fuelzer, owner of Denver-based Blake Street Tavern, who has struggled to keep ketchup in stock for much of this year. As the pandemic turned many sit-down restaurants into takeout specialists, making individual ketchup packets the primary condiment currency for both national chain and mom-and-pop restaurants, packet prices are up 13% since January of 2020, and the market share has exploded at the expense of tabletop bottles, according to restaurant business platform Plate IQ. This is the weird shit that happens. Like, this is where you go, man, I wish if I had a time machine, I'd go back to Wuhan. I'm just kidding. Yeah, kind of. I would go back and invest in Zoom and apparently ketchup packets, because skyrocketing, streaming platforms, all this stuff, man. That's where the money is. Online courses, all where the money is. Even fast food giants are pleading for packets. Long John Silver's LLC, a nearly 700-unit chain, had to seek ketchup from a secondary supplier because of the rush in demand. The industry's pandemic shift to packets has pushed up prices, costing the Louisville, Kentucky-based company an extra $500,000. Executives said, since single serve is pricier than bulk. Everyone is out there grabbing for ketchup, Chief Marketing Officer Stephanie Mattingly said. Everybody wants some ketchup. That's wild, right? Like, things you don't think of. Like, what has been severely affected by the pandemic? Well, like the ketchup industry would probably not be on your top 10, your top 20. Would probably not even be on your list. You wouldn't even think about it. Like, oh, wait, that's right. Nobody's sitting down to have a meal at a restaurant where you just have the ketchup bottle there and everybody else has used it. And you're like, I mean, I'm not, but you crazy fuckers are. And now it's like, oh, single serve packing. You're going to have it single serve. Like, how many hands have touched that thing and you're worried about it? Oh, single serve. Like, keep your ketchup at home, right? Don't you? There's a bottle of ketchup in the fridge in my house. I never touch it, but somehow it needs to be replaced every 6 months, which is weird. But ketchup shortage, one of the many fallouts of COVID-19. Seems odd, doesn't it? Maybe it doesn't. Here's something that's kind of spooky. Conspiracy theorists and all of you unite. Put on your tinfoil hats, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going deep into the thick of it. This is from BuzzFeed's news. A BuzzFeed News investigation has found that employees at law enforcement agencies across the U.S. ran thousands of Clearview AI facial recognition searches, often without the knowledge of the public or even their own departments. The story is titled How a Facial Recognition Tool Found Its Way into Hundreds of U.S. police departments, schools, and taxpayer-funded organizations. They're looking for your face. This is designed for policing. It's been quietly deployed across the country with little to no public oversight. According to a report and data reviewed by BuzzFeed News, more than 7,000 individuals from nearly 2,000 public agencies nationwide have used Clearview AI to search through millions of Americans' faces, looking for people including Black Lives Matter protesters, Capitol insurrectionists, petty criminals, and their own friends and family members. BuzzFeed News, easy for me to say, has developed a searchable table of 1,803 publicly funded agencies whose employees are listed in the data as having used or tested the controversial policing tool before February 2020. These include local and state police, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Air Force, state healthcare organizations, and offices of the State Attorney General, and even public schools. Let's find out what this thing does. So apparently it scans through social media, and I believe it also is somehow integrated into like security cameras. So somehow your face has in a database, and then this Clearview AI scans through all of the interwebs to find your face, so that they know when you're posting stuff, when you're caught in somebody else's picture. And then if the police are looking for you, or if the school wants to know if you're maybe you're a teacher that's not supposed to be taking a vacation, then you're out, all of a sudden you're seen on vacation somewhere on a security cam at the airport in Cancun. They know that you were there. Data indicates that Clearview has broadly distributed its facial recognition software to federal agencies and police departments nationwide, offering the app to thousands of police officers and government employees who at the time used it without training or oversight. Often agencies that acknowledged their employees had used the software confirmed it happened without any knowledge of their superiors, let alone the public they serve. Such widespread use of Clearview means that facial recognition may have been used in your hometown with very few people knowing it. In a statement to BuzzFeed News, the company's founder and CEO said it was gratifying to see how quickly Clearview AI has been embraced by U.S. law enforcement. He declined to answer more than 50 detailed questions about the company's practices and relationships with law enforcement agencies. Americans shouldn't have to rely on BuzzFeed News to learn their local law enforcement agencies were using flawed facial recognition technology. So it's not perfect. It's flawed, which means they could get your face wrong and you could get arrested. Be like, oh, sorry, we thought you were somebody else because our Clearview AI was not run correctly. The report pulls back the curtain on Clearview's shady campaign to encourage the secret adaptation of its services by local police. Inaccurate facial recognition will inevitably cause innocent people to be wrongly accused and convicted of crimes and could very well lead to tragedies. And nobody's overseeing any of it. It's just happening. It's just happening. Without your knowledge, it's just happening. Joe's in the house. Joe's got the devil horns up. What's up, Joe? That's correct. Like these kind of things is what should be regulated. Okay, we're going to use this software to scan over, social media and cameras and stuff to see if we can find people. Well, how accurate is it? Man, I don't know. So it could be wrong? Well, yeah, I mean, it could be wrong, but really, like, wait, what? I don't know. It's wild. They're using it to spy on you. They want to see what you're doing. Without your consent. What? We have Jason Charles Miller is coming up here in just a couple of minutes, but I wanted to get to this story. If you're a Packer fan, or if you've watched any of Aaron Rodgers, I think this is his second of 10 days hosting Jeopardy. So they're in Final Jeopardy on his first day, which was yesterday, And in Final Jeopardy, the 2-day champion, Scott Schufelt, wasn't sure of the correct answer, so he took the opportunity to ask Rogers a question, which is smart. And his question was, in Final Jeopardy, who wanted to kick that field goal? This, of course, is referring to the NFC Championship game where Matt LaFleur elected to kick a field goal rather than try for a touchdown and 2-point conversion, with the Packers down by 8 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on their 8-yard line with 2 minutes and 9 seconds to play. I watched the game. I know. I was there. I wasn't there. I was watching the game. It was great. The Packers got the field goal, but that didn't really help because you're still down by 5. Rogers' response, it wasn't my decision. And it wasn't. But how great was that? How great is that? The guy was like, I don't know the answer to this question in Final Jeopardy, but I have an opportunity and a pen, and he has to read it. Huh. That was amazing. Super smart stuff, man. Super smart stuff. I love it. God, makes me mad. By the way, if you listen to the show, you know where this also runs as a podcast, so we upload the audio to the podcast. I've been a little bit behind because we're trying to figure out a way to get it to go through our Patreon, which, by the way, please join our Patreon, help support the show. But we just uploaded the audio from a week ago Monday. Bill Michaels was on the show. We just uploaded that. So if you want to find the podcast, listen to the audio. For now, it is still available free of charge. Don't have to worry about it going through Patreon. All podcasting platforms. Search Welcome to Cooperville. You will find it. You will. Gotta love it. Been outside doing a lot of work. And, you know, when you're outside for long periods of time, and my backyard's our backyard's a little dusty. It's been dry. We finally got some rain last night and into today, and some rain this afternoon, but just fucking dust just everywhere. So walk outside, it's like, it's crazy. So been drinking a little extra water today, trying to keep the vocal cords fresh for you. You know what I'm saying? I know you do. But it's been nice. You know, you can't argue with 80 degrees in early April in the Midwest at all. And then we broke in several records, several high temp records, several low high temp records, and it's nice. Even though we had like a mild winter, it still sucks. So it's nice. It's nice. I may be a little bit just, you got to enjoy it though, right? Like you got to enjoy when you get nice weather and it sucks less. Like you just have to kind of, you know, take advantage of it. So we've been doing that today. Of course, I did go and sit inside and get my hair cut, but that's neither here nor there. Thank you all for watching, wherever you're watching on the show, whether it's Facebook Live, whether it's YouTube, whether it's on Twitch. We appreciate all of you for being a part of the show today, and appreciate the fact that we have Jason Charles Miller on the program today as well. Look at that beard, my friend.
I made it. I friggin' made it.
We are here. It is happening. It's happening now. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I complain, but I have no reason to. It doesn't get me very far anyway.
Fair enough.
But it's we were trying to have you on last week, and this happens to me all the time because I am so bad at like time zone stuff. I think everybody, I'm like, it's Central Time. It's like the middle. I'm like, right. Oh yeah, you guys, I should know better because my mom lives in Northern California. So every time we have a conversation, I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna get ready to go to bed. She's like, it's 6 o'clock, dude. Like, what are you talking about? So, right. But we got you here, and you got the new record out. We got a whole bunch to talk about. So, welcome to the program. Glad you could join me, my friend.
I'm happy to be here, man. Really sorry about last week.
Oh, good.
When we agreed on it, I marked it. You know what I mean? So the whole time I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be at 5:30, or either at 5:30 my time, or I thought it was at 7:30 my time. Anyway, whatever. We're here. Here we are.
We are here, and you had a new record that came out a week ago Friday. It is called From the Wreckage Volume 1. Tell me about the album, man, and getting it out. I know you did a release party on Twitch and like just jamming out.
It worked out really well. In fact, we got some front page love that night, which was great.
Oh, nice. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I brought in 8 different musicians that played on the record and had them, interviewed them, had them do, maybe some of them played some of their instruments. Cause like on my cover of Day After Day, I had Evan Schletter play theremin, and a lot of people haven't seen theremin played, you know, in the flesh. So because theremin is an instrument that you play the magnetic field around it.
Yep.
So we did some of that, and it went great. And so the album itself, this is it right here, actually, right here.
Boom, guy's a pro.
Shouldn't have gotten a glossy finish for the, or I should like mat it down somehow, but there you go.
It's good.
I know people are still ordering CDs, which is great, autograph ones anyway. It's called From the Wreckage Part 1. Part 2 is going to come out later this year. Some of them are brand new songs. Others are songs that I just really believed in for a long time. And because I was signed to a record label, maybe there was like a guy there that was in a bad mood the day I played the song for him. And he's like, no, that one just shouldn't go on the record. And I'm like, but that's the song I really believe in, So now it's a put up or shut up moment, right? I can put it out on my own label. And, people are really reacting positively to this. So it couldn't go better, in my opinion.
It feels like you're in this kind of complete and total control groove with this record. Like you're calling all the shots. You get to, the theremin. That's a tough instrument to call a label guy up and be like, hey, I have an idea for a song, and they'd be like, the what? You want to bring the what? They want to bring Is it feel really good to have like complete artistic creative control over the product that you're putting out?
It does. Because of how long I've put out records and how long I've been in the business, it's just hard for me to take an opinion of somebody who doesn't know nearly as much as what I'm trying to accomplish as I do, and then have to sort of like appease that person. So I'm glad I can get rid of the middlemen and just put it out.
That's awesome, man. And the sound is great. It's got its own character to it. It's outlaw country. It's gritty, dirty rock and roll. It's got just a bunch of different vibes to it. So a huge fan of what I've heard of it so far. But I want to talk about like you actually getting into music when it first kind of found its way into your ear hole and crawled in and made a home in there. And you're like, yep, this is going to be my jam, for life. Like, do you remember, when you were growing up, like what propelled you into like music as a profession, as a career, or something you were going to do with your life?
Yeah, well, according to my dad, actually, we were on a train. I grew up in Virginia near Washington, D.C., and I think we were on a train from like D.C. to New York or something. And there was an entertainment. This was when about 4 or 5. There was an entertainment car. There was a guy playing on the train back there.
Cool.
And he asked if anyone wanted to sing. And I was like, I'll sing. And I guess I sang Country Roads and Brought the House Down. But my earliest memory of performing is singing Yesterday by the Beatles in front of my school when I believe I was in kindergarten, and seeing the audience react was, that's what made me get hooked super early on, and just know that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so far, so good.
Yeah. Cause you talk about that young age stuff. It's not necessarily another artist. It's obviously a conglomerate of artists that you heard as you were growing up, but the reaction of the crowd that, oh, this is what this is. This is that gratification that you get when you're performing in front of an audience. And as we, we'll fast forward to like what the last year has been like for you, especially out in California, but, founder of Godhead. So you kind of went, balls deep into it and kicked ass and took names for it. Is that entering into a band? And I love asking this question because you have a vision and you get a group of people together and you all have the same vision of stuff, like inner workings of Godhead. How was the functionality of it? Like, was there a flow to it? Does everybody get along? Like, it's always interesting to find out from, a founding member, like, what's it like, to put a band together and to take it out and put it on the road and put records out and tour all over the world. Like, what's that trip like for you?
Yeah. when you're in a band, usually if it works, everyone has an equal say and everyone contributes in a positive way that makes the whole machine move forward.
Right.
As opposed to when you're a solo artist, you're hiring all the musicians and there's less of a democracy. But so obviously there's some pitfalls that come with that, with both sides. It's like there's going to be problems either way. I guess it's just picking your problems.
True. No, I think it's so interesting the way that when you have a band entity and in a rock formats, like bands tend to just be the thing. There's not many like solo artists. They're like, oh yeah, solo artist. I mean, unless you're like, Sting, you're like the one guy, but Sting was obviously in the Police. So the functionality all starts in a band. A lot of solo artists come from bands that had success as well. But that solo artist thing, that has to be, I almost feel like that's a little more, you're so self-reliant on yourself, and you'll experience this now, obviously, but you have a great network of people, obviously, with all the artists that you had on your album. But you're in having all that control is great because you get to put out exactly what you want to put out. You get to tell the stories you want to tell. You get to sound the way you want to sound. There's nobody, calling you up and saying, all right, we need a 3-minute and 45-second song to fit on the record. And it has to sound like this because this is what we're trying to do. There's no writing sessions. It's what you want to do with it. But for the, a solo artist, you're calling all the shots. Therefore, the success and or the demise of it is all in your court. You're like, well, I guess that's on me.
Right. Yeah. Right. So it's there's a lot more pressure, but then I would say there's a lot more reward too. It's I think I just gotten to the point to where, see, with Godhead, things started to slow down, and it had nothing to do with us creatively. We actually all still got along great. We just started seeing diminishing returns. Every album was on a different record label with a different team, and your behind the scenes team is so important. And it just started to become demoralizing to us because we felt like artistically we were making the best music of our careers, but yet it was didn't seem to be resonating with the people as much, mainly because it wasn't being promoted in the same way. Like we didn't have the promotion machine that we once had. And so it just started to get demoralizing and I wanted to do something totally different that didn't sound like Godhead or didn't, have the same sort of all the moving parts that we needed. So I started putting out music where it was just a guitar and me, and then building that back up into what it is now. Although it's funny because I still get hired all the time to do Godhead type stuff. Like I have 3 songs in Cyberpunk 2077 that are very Godhead sounding. I've sung on 2 songs for Final Fantasy 14 that are very metal sounding. Metal Gear Rising, I was on a few songs on that too. So, you can never fully escape it, right? Like there's always more coming. There was a Cartoon Network cartoon, DC Superhero Girls, that asked me to sing on 2 episodes. And they were both very like heavy hard rock. So that's always going to be part of me. And it's always like, I don't back away from anything that I did in the past. I'm proud of all of it. Just music that I release as a solo artist, I think these days is going to have a certain sound to it that more reflects authentically me and what the kind of music I'm excited about putting out,
And I love the fact that you mentioned all the work you've done in different games and different TV shows and stuff. You've really embraced that. Like, what is it comparative to like being an artist who does typical artist things? I write songs and I go on tour and then I take a break. Then I write songs. Like, what is it like to do those kind of projects? And I want to get into more of how you've really embraced also the the social media, the Twitch aspect of things and live streaming and stuff like that. But as far as like being involved in gaming and being involved in that world and voiceover work, what is that creativity like for you to be able to do these kind of cool one-off things and be a part of these things that aren't like they're mainstream, but in their circle they're huge, but in the mainstream they're kind of like, oh yeah, that game. Like that's got to be a really cool thing to be involved with.
Right. Yeah. It's great. It keeps me it keeps things diverse, so it keeps things interesting.
Right.
Like I'm always working on a different project on any given day, and so that keeps things fresh for me.
Yeah, and the Twitch thing, I know you do several shows a week, some on your own and some with some others, a bunch of different times that you go live and stuff like that. Tell me about embracing Twitch, because I remember hearing about it, and this platform, for those who are watching on different ones and not on our Twitch channel, this platform is just, it's enormous. It's this huge group of live streamers and people that watch live streaming. It really started off as kind of this gaming thing where you could watch other people play gaming. I remember seeing my son for the first time on Twitch, watching someone else play video games. I'm like, you want to tell me why I buy all the video games and then you watch other people play them? And he was like, well, it's just, they're so good. I'm like, well, you can get good and then you can become a Twitch star. And then I believe it was, I remember hearing about Trivium, really jumping on and embracing Twitch. And then kind of, it seems like more in the last year plus, maybe 2 years, musicians, artists have really embraced that platform, and they're doing live stream shows. They're having conversations with other artists and stuff. Tell me about embracing Twitch and kind of the reaction that you've gotten from being on that platform.
Well, I was lucky because in another aspect of my life, from being a voice actor, I started appearing on a channel called Geek and Sundry back in 2016 on Twitch. And at the time, it was the #1 most subscribed channel on Twitch.
Wow.
And so I have a lot of people that know me from that. So when the pandemic hit and all of our tour dates canceled and everything kind of died out, I decided to really lean into my Twitch channel, like actually launch it and start doing things. And one of the things that I learned was that consistency is the key. It's less about, like, when you're on tour or doing an in-person event, it's all about making it an event. Like I don't overplay Los Angeles. I try not to overplay any city, because when you're coming through, you want that to be the night that everyone wants to come see you. Right.
Okay.
With Twitch, it's, I have Miller's Music Mondays and Whatever You Want Wednesdays, and those go up without fail. And people plan their nights around it, and so that's the key is being able to commit to do it. Those however many nights a week. And then I have the songwriting show that I do for Codename Games. I'm now running a Dungeons and Dragons game on Saturday for Luke Gygax, for Gary Con, the convention that he runs. And that was another thing on Geek and Sundries, that I played role-playing games on that show. And so people know that aspect of my life as well. So I feel like I definitely had an advantage from already a lot of the people in the community already knowing me. But what I say to anybody is, like, really lean into it, because there's already a community here. There's already people here on Twitch. It's less about trying to convert your fans that don't know what Twitch is to come over. It's more about, like, being exposed to the people that are already there. I mean,
right.
We have things like raids where you take your audience and bring them over. When it's time for you to sign off, you take your audience and raid another channel, and people that are watching might discover someone new that way. There's just a lot of things that are sort of built in to Twitch that I like, and that I think work really well for continuing to expand your fan base.
Yeah. What do you use for, what's your platform you use for streaming on Twitch? Are you a Streamlabs guy? Or you can't?
Well, it's interesting. So I'm a Streamlabs guy when I go up alone, but then for my Miller's Music Monday show, where I always have another guest, we both call into a Zoom call to my producer's computer, and then he uses regular OBS, just OBS.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but Streamlabs for me is fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy a lot of the extra things that go with it and the things that pop up on the screen. I have a lot of fun adding all those things. And like if you subscribe to my channel, you get a bunch of cartoon emotes of me, and I'm always trying to add more. And so, yeah.
It's really a cool, for the first time, if you go on Twitch for the first time, you really get this amazing sense of how there's so many talented gamers out there, musicians that are out there, but the technology that is available and how people can, with green screens. I mean, the Dr. Doom is out, like, looks like he's blowing up in a car somewhere. I mean, there's so many creative people out there making things that should be like, oh, this should be on TV. Like, I should be watching this on a TV show. Yet here's some guy in his in a studio or in a room somewhere, making this, these amazing sound effects and overlays and all this cool stuff. I think it's a brilliant platform that is, as huge as it is, it still feels like it's undiscovered. You know what I mean? It's like the one,
Sure.
Like everybody, there's the Facebook and there's the YouTube and there's like Twitch. And I'm like, there's how many millions of people that are on Twitch?
There's millions of people on Twitch, and I think it'll become synonymous with talking about Facebook and YouTube one day. You just got to keep at it. I love the live aspect of it, because then I'm talking to people all over the world, and then they can like tip me, or when we're playing D&D, they can like contribute to the good fortune of the party, and then that'll help them get more re-rolls and things like that. So there's really cool aspects of it that I think are unique, or at least Twitch led the way. I know you can do that on other formats now, and that's cool. But yeah, Twitch to me is kind of where, I cut my teeth there like 5 years ago, sort of just learning all about it. And I continue to learn more about it every day.
Do you feel like it's, excuse me, do you feel like it's filled a void for you during, the last year of, not being able to go play shows, having a tour canceled, not being able to, all the things that you couldn't do? Do you think that having that ability to go on this community with your fans, grow the fan base, get more people involved with all the things that you do? I mean, you got your hands in a million different things, but has that been kind of it's tough to compare to being on stage at a live show, but is this filled kind of a gap of like, there's interaction, you're talking to your fans, you're able to play music? Is that kind of filled the void of the last year?
Absolutely. And I'm playing like 3 shows a week. Mm-hmm. So it's keeping my chops up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's keeping me inspired. It's keeping me inspired to write. So yeah, I think it's pretty positive considering all the negative things that we've had to deal with.
Absolutely. Especially I was just reading a story about they're hoping June 15th that things are going to start to open up out in California. So
I mean, I hope, it's like we, I don't know why vaccines became political, or everyone can't trust them or whatever, but the less people take vaccines, the longer this thing's just going to be around. So I've got my appointment coming up, and my number didn't, here in California, it's April 15th is when people my age can get it. So I'm going to be getting it as soon as I can to try to protect myself and protect the community.
When was the last live show you played? Do you remember?
March 8th, 2020.
Wow.
At the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Not a bad place to be doing a live show.
Love that place.
It's weird to have something being taken away, not being able to go and do what you do, and not just for you, but for the fan base who, in rock and roll and in passion driven music, I don't disclude pop music from that, but I kind of do a little bit, because it's not necessarily passion based, but
sure.
Formats like rock and formats like country that are really super fan connected to the artist, to the song, and you've probably had this happen to you over and over again, is where a fan will come up and say, this song here helped me through this, or got me through this changed my life, your music does this for me. So the fans missing out as well. So you have this thing taken away. And thankfully, some artists, yourself included on here, have found ways to still connect with that fan base, because they have struggled as well. The music industry was hit super hard, from the artists to the crew to, everybody from
venues, people that worked at the venues, people that work around the venues. I mean, it took a huge toll on people, way more than on the performers,
Yeah. But it's great to see that there's still some way to connect with your fans. And I know that when live shows come back around, and I know you probably are you gauging, are you looking into kind of the crystal ball a little bit to say in 2021, maybe some dates? Do you have some feelers out there as far as getting back out and getting back onto a stage?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm definitely wanting to do the, I'm definitely wanting to do that. It's just exactly the crystal ball. I mean, but I have friends in Bakersfield, 2 hours away, that are playing shows almost every weekend. So, outdoor. And I guess the advantage of living in Southern California is that, look, our cold months are over now. It's April, and it's going to be for the next 8 months. We'll be able to do things outside. So, if that helps and gets things a little bit back to normal, that would be great.
Yeah, I know a lot of artists that I've had on the show. They talk about obviously the want to get out, and some who have, that are trying to line up a tour, and they're like, it is one of the most it was challenging before to try to line up a tour and venues, and you try not to, crisscross yourself very much. You try to have like a pattern that you're going into, and they're
right.
like, we're lining these shows up, we're making the phone calls, we're talking to venues, they're confirming with us, we're getting to a show, and the day before, and all of a sudden they're like, well, we can't do it.
Right.
Sorry, we can't have the show. So it's really become taxing on those who are trying to get out to places that have some, looser restrictions and play shows. And then they're getting there and going, well, that cost us more than we were going to make at this show just to be here in, Idaho or wherever they happen to be playing.
Right.
It's an ongoing challenge. As we look at these shows opening up, like what is, you taking the solo show out? You got a band together? Like what's the plan once we start to get open back up for you?
Definitely taking a band with me, but then like there are certain artists, like when I was touring with the Almond Betts band, they preferred if I opened acoustically because their band's so big, it helps their crew, and I totally get it. So I guess it just depends on what opportunities are open for me, and what is on the horizon. But I definitely want to take my band out. I know, like, I've been talking to some festivals about stuff in 2022, but even in 2021, some things that I were booked on, or that I was booked on in 2020, they're not 100% sure it's going to happen. And I just read today of a big artist, a big band that I'm a big fan of, having to postpone a ton of dates and then just like moving it to next year, Yeah,
we're seeing a lot up here. We're starting to get some festivals that are going and moving forward and having some things, obviously precautions in place. I work for a rock festival. I work for a country festival. So it's a lot of talking to the local health department, talking to local government, like what can we do to keep this happening? And you want to see live music. People have been missing live music. The artists miss live music, but it's going to be interesting from a bird's eye view to kind of watch what happens. How are people feeling about going to concerts? How do they feel about being in, both of my festivals are outdoors. So you have a little more sense of, okay, I can maintain some distance here, but those big packed arena shows that you see that, a motley crew at a 15, or 25,000 seat room, you're like, man, what does that look like now? It's going to be very interesting to watch how it progresses out, because there's been a year worth of people living in, with a sense of fear about things. Does that just wear off like that? You know what I mean?
I don't think it does. I don't think it does wear off right away. So then it's like, what's going to be this in between time?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think people will eventually kind of forget and go back, but there's going to be, it also depends on the communities too, but there's going to be a weird transitionary period, and who's to say and who's to guess what that's going to be like.
Yeah. You really just kind of have to, I want to say go with the flow necessarily, but be observant, kind of watch the crowd, see where the crowd's going. How does everybody feel?
Mm-hmm.
Know your neighbors and stuff. Well, Jason, I'm so enthralled by you and all the things you have your hands in. I think it's super cool to meet somebody who's not sticking in one lane. I mean, you got your hands in so many different things, and it feels like, just from our conversation, what I've seen you doing on Twitch, like you enjoy every single aspect of everything that you do. as busy as your calendar, I'm sure is, and you have, with the live streams, with writing music, with getting the album out, with trying to plan shows, with doing voiceover stuff, doing music for video games, gaming yourself, like you feel like you're doing things that make Jason happy.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm really lucky in that aspect, in that respect. So, I'm thankful and grateful that I have the opportunity to do that.
Awesome, brother.
Well, I got to do a voiceover for a video game right after this. I can't say what game, but yeah.
Look at that. That's what we call in the business a tease. He just teased us a little bit.
Right. Well, it's called a non-disclosure agreement.
You
get in a lot of trouble for if you talk about it.
Contractual agreements. Yes, I understand, man. Let people know where they can follow you on your Twitch channel, and of course, Facebook. We have you linked up through our show here. But where can they follow you on Twitch?
Yeah, on Twitch, it's also just my name, Jason Charles Miller. Luckily, I was able to grab that, and that's my name across all social media. So if you're interested, check me out and check out the new album wherever you like to listen to music.
And he's still got CDs, and they can get those on your website, right?
You can get them on my website. Yeah, I've got some merch. I've got like bandanas and actually, here's a bandana right here. I got a bandana with like two of my logos on it. So here's one of my old logos, and then this is like my current logo. So, and I send out a free bandana with every album.
That's not awesome. Bad. Jason Charles Miller, man, thank you for all that you're doing and enjoying life, and hopefully, knock on wood, you're back out and performing very soon. And if you ever make it over to Wisconsin,
I love Wisconsin, and I love playing in Wisconsin. So, yeah, absolutely, let's hang out.
We love a good time over here. We we like to let loose and rock and roll, and to hell with tomorrow. Sometimes Sometimes that's the problem. Take care of yourself, my friend. Best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Okay, man. Thanks a lot.
Jason Charles Miller on the show today. Check out the new album. I've been listening to some tracks on there. I've been streaming them. From the Wreckage Part 1 is out now. Go and listen to it. Go follow him on Twitch as well. Jason Charles Miller on Twitch, also on Facebook and on Instagram. All the platforms. That's where he is. He's hanging out. So definitely go and check that out. If you would like to be a part of this comment section, it's right over, depending on where you're watching. It could be here. It could be over there. Jump in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. We really appreciate all the feedback from every show. It's always great to hear from guys like my buddy Joe. Joe's here. He's my regular. He's my dude. And join the Patreon as well. That is available for you. The link for the Patreon is in the comment sections of all of our live streaming places. We'll take a short break, and we will talk about tomorrow's show. We'll talk about the rest of the week, and we got some big stuff coming up as well that I want to let you in on. So hang out for a brief moment, and we'll be... All right, now we're back. Cooperville Live. Thank you to Jason Charles Miller for the great conversation today, learning about his music and his influences and all that fun stuff, and so much stuff going on. Follow him on Twitch, Jason Charles Miller on Twitch, and on Instagram and Facebook as well. Go follow him and go get his new album. It's called From the Wreckage, Volume 1. It is out right now. Volume 2 coming out later on this year. So cool stuff coming up. Tomorrow on the show, really excited to have Ricky Armillo is going to be joining us. He is from Ice Nine Kills and the band Hawk. So Ricky's going to be on with us starting at 5:10 tomorrow. On the program, we'll talk about music. We'll talk about the really kick-ass stuff that Ice Nine Kills and Hawk are doing and how they've gotten through the last year of not being able to do shows. And hopefully, I believe, shows on the horizon for them and a bunch of other cool stuff. So Ricky Armillo is going to be on the show tomorrow starting at 5:10 right here on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. So until then, until we meet again, that would be tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the program. Every single day we do this, starting at 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, bunch of different guests, bunch of different walks of life, all the stuff. And you make it possible. So thank you.